Introduce yourself, please.
Sure. Thank you, Ben, and such a nice way to start the conference, at least our session. So my name is Abhinav Anand. I head payment products and risk at eBay, which is a large marketplace out of San Jose. We are in 186 countries with over 133 million customers. But prior to joining eBay, which is a recent gig 4 months ago, I spent almost 16 years in consumer finance, both at companies like Discover and Goldman Sachs. And before that, insurance, asset management, data industry, you name it. I grew up in data science and machine learning. In fact, it was not called data science in the early 2000s when I started doing that. In fact, I remember once I changed my resume to call statistical analyst because, no offense to statisticians in the room, that was the only way to get a job in any kind of predictive modeling or financial modeling world back in the days. Spent some 10, 15 years running large machine learning shops, modeling shops in banking and financial services before shifting over to a general manager, product manager role. But always had large AI teams working in my domain and love to share some of my insights and learnings from there.
So I feel like, we're all here to try to, I bet you admit here to try to figure out what the hell is happening with AI or how it's going to impact things. You have the perspective of the world of consumer finance. So I just want to straight up ask, how do you think AI is already impacting and is going to impact the world of finance, especially consumer finance, the world that you are in?
Absolutely, a great question. But before I answer that, let me do a quick show of hands. How many people here actually work in consumer finance, payments, banking kind of environment?
Hi. Wow,
it's a great role to play. Good. And how many of them are actually working for companies that provide solutions, AI tools, softwares, consultancy to those industries? Perfect. So we have a good mix. So again, I'll make sure that my comments here are very tailored to consumer finance. And the reason I bring it up is a lot of the art of possible with AI starts getting a little restricted when you enter the world of consumer finance, primarily because of the regulatory requirements around how you can actually do things. So again, a lot of promise out there, but keep that in the context of the constraints that you will face when you try to apply those in consumer finance. So speaking of AI and application in consumer finance, when we think about it, it's always three different areas where you already see a lot of infusion of AI, more on the machine learning track of AI into consumer finance. And I'll put them into three buckets of customer experience, how to provide better customer experience. Number two, risk management, where whether it's fraud, whether it's credit underwriting, or it is compliance and AML kind of work, a lot of deep penetration of machine learning activities already happening. And the third is definitely around the focus of reduction of costs. Most consumer finance companies, both banks and fintechs, deal with a lot of cost pressures, and a lot of automation is going into that. And there are good use cases of machine learning that has got into the side of operating expenses as well. As I see the AI landscape evolving, especially a lot of buzz around Gen AI right now, we spent a lot of time yesterday talking about it in the conference as well. I think the biggest vector where you will see a lot more happening would be on the consumer experience side. How do you provide a less frictionful consumer experience to somebody who's applying for a loan or a credit card, or somebody who's trying to make a bank-to-bank transfer from checking to a savings account? How to make sure that they can actually do their transactions on for the next investments in a more frictionless way. And behind the scenes, the investments we could make using the new tools on AI for especially risk and identity can help you make that very easy. We'll talk a bit more during this talk about personalization, other ways of improving customer experience. But I would say that the vector where consumer finance firms haven't done a lot, which is on customer experience, that's a vector that we'll see evolve a lot more in coming years.
I mean, you just talked about the customer experience and personalization, so I think I want to dig a little bit deeper into that now, which is the AI that allows us to do a lot is deep personalization. We're starting to see that. So I'm kind of, I'm curious for how you think personal impact, consumer finance, how you think about the role of AI.
It's a great question, Ben. It's another evolving landscape. But before I answer that question, let me just quickly define personalization, because it, again, can mean a lot of different things to different people. And consumer finance institutions, banks, fintechs have actually done fairly well in what I call offline personalization, things around engagement emails, things around acquisition campaigns. People do spend a lot of time collecting data about a potential prospect or a customer and trying to get them through for the next offer or get to engage them to buy something else on their platform. That domain is getting better over time. Orchestration is getting better. The messaging, the offers, the pricing is getting more contextual and relevant. But what the new AI tools and also the new data engineering tools available to consumer financial industry today is going to do is to do what I call real-time personalization. That is an evolving domain, and that can only work when there are multiple tools you can use from AI world, especially from e-commerce and others, like recommendation engines, for example, have been there for years. What's the next best action for a customer to do when they are at your digital property, whether an app or a website? All of that can only work if you're capturing that data. 5-10 years ago, the live streaming data capture was extremely difficult. It was not appropriately orchestrated by your website or your app, and you didn't have enough tools to actually compute that in real time and really decide in real time what activity or what action you're going to ask the customer to do. Customer is looking for that because financial journeys or financial experiences are difficult. It's not always very easy to understand. And if you have your data infrastructure orchestrated the right way, there's so much more potential you can open up on personalization using AI tools that have been there, frankly, for the last 5-7 years across other industries.
So you talked a lot about data and data personalization. There is a flip side to that too, which is like lots of discussion about data privacy and AI, about what the level should be. So how do you think about the data privacy side? Avoiding backlash and finding the right balance between that personalized experience and consumer privacy.
Again, a good question, Ben. So responsible AI is almost like become certainly a pretty important and interesting topic. I think people are still figuring this out. Of course, data privacy rules are very clear. Data privacy regulations is very clear. But when you start getting into the realm of responsible AI, especially in the context of consumer finance, where data privacy goes to a very different level beyond the requirements that a typical FTC would have, you have to adhere to GLBA and other different regulation, it becomes even more tricky. I think one of the best approaches one can take, which I'll take a leaf from what Europe has done, and I know US doesn't have it, is the concept around open banking. If you can get the data directly from the customer, and of course, if you have to ensure that you're keeping it in a safe, secure way, and use that information to further augment your models or further augment your AI tools. There's nothing that can beat that. I mean, then you are a response in the realm of responsible AI with the customer consent. Of course, in the absence of that, ensuring that the data you're using is anonymized, ensuring that the data, anything that you're getting in for making a decision for a consumer finance product, you have the permissible and regulatory purpose to do that, because it's extremely important. And of course, with that comes the burden of ensuring that you're safeguarding those data in the right way and not commingling it and creating risks for the customers. So it's a big domain. Generally speaking, consumer finance institutions think of it as a compliance and governance item. I think that the firms and companies who are going to actually invest in data privacy and data infrastructure that actually adheres to data privacy and also create experiences where the customers are willingly giving them with their consent data about them are going to win in the industry.
So we know a lot of people here are in finance or in finance. Is there an area of AI or is there an area in general that they should be thinking more about, or some piece of advice for them as they're trying to leverage AI for their companies, their verticals, their work?
So absolutely. I think my advice would be, and we saw a very nice session in the morning about, how to get AI infused in an organization. In fact, I would say that in many cases, sometimes consumer finance institutions fear the word AI. They want to stick to modeling. They want to stick to the word machine learning because, they don't want too much regulatory focus on how you're managing AI. But I think the best way we can do that is, someone talked in the morning about setting up an AI center of excellence. You need to have AI evangelists in your organization, and there doesn't need to be a very large group. You need with an education across the board from your board members to your analysts to understand how AI tools can be used across the board, not just for their own internal productivity, but also for customer facing applications. Keep your compliance team always involved. Invest in those relationships because that's super important. Invest in a data infrastructure because that would actually make you do better with AI tools that are available out there. And last but not the least, figure out projects where you can show an ROI on your investment as quickly as possible. This journey can become almost a 2-5 year journey if you want it to be without any results. But if you can focus on goals that are achievable and are a little short term in nature, that'll create a lot more momentum around use of AI in your organization and hopefully get you more investments.
So, you remind me again, how big is eBay now? How many people?
So eBay has over 12,000 people.
And so that's a decent sized organization. I'm kind of curious about how you, at an organization that large, just even in general for anyone, how you can really build and scale AI teams at organizations with that size, with like all those kinds of things. So like, what are the kinds of tech stacks, human resources, things you need to scale AI in an organization that large?
That's a great question. So look, on the payment side of the equation at eBay, which I manage, they have roughly 600 engineers and around another 100, 120 product managers and other professionals. And one of the first things we did is, at least, and this was done by my predecessor, I will not take credit for it, but that makes sure that our education within our group on how AI tools should be used in a responsible way is super clear. Our engineers, generally speaking, and any organizations are super creative and very interested to jump on AI tool. Especially when Gen AI came out, I was like literally sitting in meetings after meetings. How do we use this for the purposes of what we do here in risk management and payments? And some great ideas. We actually went through a whole hackathon for almost a couple of days to really go through some of those ideas and figure out which ones we are going to invest in and how we are going to think about bringing these tools within our organization. We have been hiring quite a bit of folks from outside payments and risk management industry who have actually done work in AI in other industries and trying to bring in that talent to see how they can actually help us on the payments and risk management side. And also spending a lot of time in investing in our infrastructure. I will re-emphasize the fact that your data layer is key to getting ROI out of your AI tools. And if you haven't done yet, I would rather spend some time in that. And look, it is difficult for older organizations. Like eBay is 28-year-old organizations. Some of the consumer finance institutions are way older than that. But that comes with a lot of technical debt. Data is very siloed. Data is all over. And trying to figure out how to stitch it all together so that your applications can become more robust, so that you can do that personalization at scale, so that you can actually do a better job at fraud management and identity management. It's taking a lot of effort to get there, but we have a multi-year roadmap on the data side, but we have kept an eyes focused on certain short-term goals that we can achieve. In every quarter, a new application of AI to be rolled out, either in fraud management or risk management or in our customer experience side.
Can you tell us any of the cool things that were built in the hackathon?
Absolutely, a couple of super cool things. In fact, one of the very incremental yet useful use of AI that I saw in one of the hackathon was on fraud management. A lot of us who do machine learning for any sort of fraud management exercise use feature extractions as a method of really finding out what are the right set of features to feed into your model. I saw a very cool use case of representation learning, where we were looking at data on mouse scrolls, on mouse movement, on pace of typing, that actually led to a much better fraud risk model over there. That's in the world of risk management, in the world that we love most around our listing. Very cool application where you can take a picture of an item and use that to list items on our platform. And what's most interesting here, which I will definitely mention, that a lot of our decision and discussions have been going around one of the other flip side of the whole equation that folks in consumer finance should definitely think about. It's what I call, I'm a Harry Potter fan, it's a defense against dark AI. The whole concept around that, the same tool that you are talking about to provide better customer experience are available to fraudsters as well. I actually saw a use case or example where social engineering through generative AI. As you look at embedding generative AI into your chatbots, on the other side too, there are fraudsters who are actually trying to do social engineering at scale using your own chatbots. And how do you actually now start protecting your own institution through those fraud situations? The fraud vectors actually is another interesting area of focus that we have. We do a lot of listings in our marketplace, fraudulent listing or prohibitive items. How do you use tools to really computer vision tools to really understand what people are selling and take them off our platform. So a lot of those use cases of protecting your organization, protecting your customers from actually advanced use cases of AI is also becoming very relevant.
So this is a related self-serving question for myself. I am an AI investor, AI venture capitalist. What kind of areas should I be looking at, or the kinds of companies you think that might be interesting opportunities over the next few years from your perspective, working at the top of the payments world?
So if I'll stick to the payments and consumer finance world, of course, there are so many other companies that are using AI for so many different use cases in industries. I'll say companies who are using AI tools for better identity management. Identity is a big challenge in consumer finance. Being able to identify a customer or a business as they're interacting and transacting, either making payments on your platform or using a financial product. There's some very cool companies who are using AI tools for identity management. I'm not going to drop any names here because there are a lot of those companies are here too. Is one area that I'll love for folks to invest in. In fact, as consumer finance institutions, making investment in those companies or partnering with those companies when you're early, they're early in their life cycle could actually be really good investment and also good partnership. The other area in consumer finance that I would also suggest people to invest is in tools that or companies that are focused on what I call ML ops, AI ops. Companies that are actually going to accelerate, especially if you're not a new fintech, if you are a consumer finance company that has been there for a while, and even for a new fintech, an ML ops or AI ops company can actually accelerate your actual use of AI tools, not just building AI tools and showing it to your board and your management to say, hey, this is a great idea I have, but unfortunately, I don't know how to implement it in a practical situation. So those are two types of companies I'll suggest for this group.
Me become, there we go. Now you got the sound. I have one or two more questions. I want to make sure if a burning question, you can raise your hand. I'll get maybe one. All right, ask quickly, yell loud.
From our perspective, what type of solutions we have launched to get developed as far as tracking or combating payment fraud and or
Okay, so solutions for fraud that you've been working on or thinking about.
The two aspects we have been investing a lot. One is to gather more data about the actor that we are trying to establish fraudulent or non-fraudulent actor on. A lot of data is coming from third parties. A lot of data is coming from devices from where they are browsing. A lot of data is coming from what we know about that particular user already. So there's a lot of focus on variety of that data, not necessarily just the volume. The other one, if your question specifically on modern techniques we are using, so a lot of focus on typical machine learning techniques that are more of generative additive in nature, so GAM models, but again, generating features through representation learning, not necessarily just having an analyst go through all the data fields they have and figuring out feature extraction. Representation learning is becoming super cool in fraud detection. I'll highly recommend, if you haven't explored that technique, to definitely look at it.
Mine is not working properly. So really quickly, we have like only a minute or two. Oh, very quick question. Yeah, go hit it. Yell loud.
Open banking in US and application in payments. So again, I'm not going to predict where regulations would go. I will say this for sure that PSD3 is coming. I'm on the advisory board for that in UK, in Europe rather, EU, and that came like literally day 2 of my job here. So definitely PSD3 is coming, and there is a lot more focus on open banking, and with that more authentication as well as data privacy. Generally, my take on US regulations are they're always like a decade behind Europe regulation. PSD2 has been there for a while, so my expectation is that should be coming through, next few years. But, who knows the political situation in this country, especially with next year being election year, where things would land. I have to say, though, this is outside regulation. A lot of consumer finance institutions through, plugins available, example as Plaid and FinCity and others, are at least able to, with customer consent, to get the consumer's financial data from other places and then use that to provide a more personalized service or product offering, or even do better underwriting. So that's already happening. It's very prevalent. Of course, you need to get consumer consent. General adoption rate that I have seen across multiple different consumer finance institutions is in banking type institutions, 40 to 50%. In insurance, even less. And as you start going down in accounting and investment, even less. But banking is where you can see 40 to 45%, maybe 50% adoption of those tools, which are your best proxy for open banking right now.
All right. One last question. You only get one sentence for this one since we are at time. Just one piece of advice for the audience, for all these people who are diving deeper into the AI world.
The one piece of advice I have is embrace AI tools and make sure your management, your board, your colleagues understand that this is not something they can push back on. This is something they have to embrace and make the best out of it.